What it does is it is a mighty tree. Look at it. I mean, look at the tree. It's mighty. And it is hellishly heavy. It is a really, really heavy wood. What is happening in the trees is that you have the plumbing in the tree from the ground through the aquifer right up through the tree, two lots of plumbing. One is called xylem and the other is called phloem. It's pulling the food and the water right up to the very top leaf, up into the top of the canopy. Right up into the top of the canopy. Nobody has figured out how this happens. Nobody, no, not even me. Nobody has figured out. There is a man in Trinity College Dublin, he's got a couple of theories, but he's off the wall. There is nobody in science, nobody has figured out that extraordinary plumbing. And the funny thing about those tubes going up through the tree is they're full of holes. And they're called pits. Right up through, the whole thing is full of holes. The whole thing is holy, going right up, and still manages to pull up water up to the top of the tree. The tree like this has to have water. And why it has to have water right up there is to feed the acorns. Without the water, there'd be no acorns. Without the acorns, there'd be no regeneration. We have to have water for reproduction of the tree. Now, I want you to look at something that is really part of biodiversity that you would probably never see in Europe, most of Europe. You would probably see it on 5 acres of the west coast of Canada. You would see it down in the tropics. You would see it in a few places on Earth. Is the ecosystem that runs up that branch there, and the ecosystem that's running up this branch here, but I'm talking about the ferns that are running up the branches there. That is an ecosystem all on its own. Come over here, you kids. You've got to see it. That is, come over, I want you to tell me if you can see it. You see the ferns up there? And you see the green mosses up there. All right. Now that's something that you might not see again ever in your life. If this forest is cut down, you will never see that again. And what's up there is something really quite spectacular. There's earth up on all of those limbs there. And the limbs have been there for so long that things have rotted on the top of the limbs and produced, you see the green fuzzy stuff? See the green mosses there? And just put your hand on the mosses so you can feel they're nice and damp. And they have, right up there, they have 40 types of insects. 40 kinds of insects. And they're right up there, and it is called temperate rainforest tree because it rains. And this is an amazing thing in the world to find something like this. This is just something like a heaven to a botanist like me. So, now, I want to tell you something else about this tree. This tree produces acorns. And have you ever heard of drugs? Anybody ever heard of drugs? Terrible things, drugs. There's a drug in the acorn for the squirrel. It's a terrible drug. He loves the drug. It tastes so sweet. Its name is called inositol. And it's a sugar. It's a sweet sugar. And every squirrel in the whole of the world wants to go up those branches to get the acorns to eat them. Because they love the acorns. They'll pack them into their mouth. They love them. They love them so much, they'll go off and they'll plant them. They'll find another bit of acreage and they plant them again. And they eat them and eat them and eat them. And the inositol is absolutely the perfect medicine for a squirrel. If a squirrel eats the acorns, they will never ever get sick. And then they plant them, and then you have a forest. Because what they do is they roll them into the ground. A squirrel is very fussy. A squirrel will roll a nut into the ground, drop it into a hole, roll it there, and it's on its belly. And when it's on its belly, it will produce a shoot, and it will produce a root from its belly. So you've got a forest going. Now, I want to tell you something else. Can you eat can you eat the acorns from this tree?
I don't think so.
Were they yeah, you got it. This fella is smart. Yeah. You put wood ashes in with the acorns, you shock the acorns, that means you take them out of their little, take them apart, and you get the flesh just like a nut. And you put wood ashes into the water and you boil them, and then you wash them out, and then you put more wood ashes into the water and you boil them out, and then you dry them. It was done in Ireland. You dry them off and you make a flour. And the flour that is produced from almost all the acorns all over the world is an edible flour, and this in North America was called an anti-famine tree. And the acorns were held in water for up to 3 years, and they were held in special kind of huts, and the Aboriginal people, all of the Indians, ate that. They'd come around here, they'd look up into that tree and they'd say, my God, there's a pile of vegetables up that tree, because they used them for vegetables.
So when did we forget about that?